Depending on the character's roles, some liberties to keep the plot moving are unrealistic. What I'm focused on is learned behavior, something you see over time. That is why I like series, because it starts to develop a character into a person and it constrains the writer into how the character can react. If you violate the spirit of the character, then you soon will find interest in the books will disappear. While the thoughts are inspired by the book, it does not imply the writer intended to inspire the thoughts I have. Max chooses another dancer that was obviously gay for a part in the upcoming ballet. This leads Scott to approach Max that he was gay as well. Remember, he started pretending to be straight, thinking this might get Max to give him better parts since he was so masculine. At first, Scott thought of Max as a father figure. He convinced himself he could be himself on stage and still live in the closet off stage and no one would notice. Maybe he knew he felt something, but explained it as hero worship or admiration for someone he really respected. Was Scott even aware his feelings were deeper than a mercenary interest to advance his career? He was deep in the closet, often that deep you ignore your feelings. They are dangerous to your secret and you believe you can control them or you wouldn't be in the closet. Thinking that way, maybe you think you'd be able to identify when they show up. He mentions to Stan that he started dating Elisa because if he couldn't have Max, he could have his mistress. Then in chapter 18, he and Elisa fight. He decided to approach Max one more time. Or was it like Elisa and Tony, who started out wanting to use Max, but instead fell in love? Most likely, Max never took it seriously anyway. After all, Scott was pretending to be just as callous and out of for himself as Max, so likely he assumed it was another attempt to get Max to pick him for big parts. People like Max couldn't care less what was the motive, only in how they can take advantage of it to get their needs met. Never believe people like this can do anything but pretend at caring. They might believe that what they feel is love, but that requires empathy, and if they will not consider other feelings before they act, will not choose to say no when it is something they really want, but it might damage you, and that is not love. It might be infatuation, and they can pretend for a while love, but eventually you will want more than they can give, and they will find someone else. Most likely, all they wanted was sex. Money, something you can do, and if you are not careful, watch out for your self-esteem. They will use you up and move on to the next person, leaving you empty and exhausted to rediscover your self-esteem. Get dragged down that far, you will either jump back in and be a victim again, or you will learn what you can from the mess your life is, and only when you're sure you have some idea of why things happened, start looking, and then you will be a survivor. While the thoughts are inspired by the book, it does not imply the writer intended to inspire the thoughts I have. The attempt is to start a discussion and get people to think about human behavior from the perspective of the closet. How this might lead to problems that make friends or partners or even business relationships difficult. I can understand why some would dismiss this effort. I find reminders in how the characters behave with memories of my own experiences and then explore that aspect. It's meant to start people to think. It is not meant to imply I am right. If you do not share the ideals with others, then how will you know if you're right? When talking, the focus should be on challenging and exposing your ideals, not in changing other opinions. That would only lead to frustration, since the only person you can change is yourself.